Hey everyone, it's Ben Hardy here, and in today's video, I'm comparing the Chevy Trail Boss to the Ram Rebel to see who makes the better off-road pickup. Before we get in this video, I want to give a huge shout out and thank you to the Karl Malone Dodge and Heber for giving me some time with the Ram, and then the Karl Malone Chevy here in Park City for giving me some time with the Trail Boss. I'll include a link to both their websites in the description down below. If you have any questions on the Dodge side of things, just ask for Josh. On the Chevy side of things, just ask for Javier, and also include a link to my car buying guide as well. Let's get into it. So powering the Ram is a twin-turbo 3-liter inline-6 that goes through an 8-speed automatic transmission. Fuel economy 17 around town, and then 24 on the highway with power outputs being 420 horsepower and then 469 pound-feet of torque. Now, powering the Trail Boss is a 6.2-liter V8 naturally aspirated that goes through a 10-speed automatic transmission. Fuel economy is 14 around town and then 17 on the highway with power outputs being 420 horsepower and then 460 pound-feet of torque. Before I move forward with this comparison, I do want to mention if you're going to see more videos just like this, then I recommend you subscribe because I post content every single day. So starting with the Ram Rebel, you can see that you've got this powder-coated front end. There is some plastic trim in there as well. But, I mean, for the most part, you can see pretty heavy duty. But yeah, sculpted for approach angle, right? It's ready for off-roading. You got recovery points, and the fog lights are housed a little bit higher. You got that cool venting on the hood. And the reason I'm mentioning it that way is with the Chevy, I don't understand some of their choices here. So you got this fancy painted bumper. Again, this is an off-roader, and then the fog lights are at the very bottom. So if you do hit the front end, you're probably going to break the fog lights. So yeah, interesting choice. The front end of the Trail Boss looks great, but yeah, not as practical for off-roading as what you have there with the Ram. Now with the Ram, it's 275, 70, 18 in the front, and then in the Chevy, it's 275, 65, 18 in the front, and then same thing with the rears with both of them. So the Ram has slightly more sidewall compared to the Chevy, and you can see the wheel design here with the Rebel, and then that aggressive tread pattern, and then here's the tread pattern with the Chevy. You can see with the wheels right there. And we've got fixed side steps on the Chevy, nothing on the Ram. Got these big old trailer mirrors with the Ram, and then just regular mirrors with the Chevy. And then notice with the Ram fender flares, whereas with the Chevy doesn't have those. Trail Boss decal versus the big old Rebel decal. Now the Ram has Bilstein shocks, and it's got multi-link in the back, whereas with the Chevy, leaf springs, and then you've got Rancho shocks. Here's your side profile with the Silverado. Here's your side profile with the Ram Rebel. Now popping in the bed of the Silverado, you can see protection here from the factory. Got an outlet in the bed. We've got LED lights, pretty fancy setup, and I believe this has the auto raise tailgate. Yeah, so kind of a fancy feature. And then popping over the Ram, no protection, but we do have some LED lights here in the bed. There's one on the other side too. There you go. Now with the tailgate, you do have to lift it up yourself. Nicely into place. It's the big chunky Ram logo, and then again with the bumper being powder coated, you can see with the double exhaust tip set up there. And then popping over to the Chevy, you can see a little bit boxier. I mean, you got the bumper steps. Look at the exhaust tip covers as well. It's just a little bit of a different design. But let me know if you like the looks of the Silverado Trail Boss more or the Ram more. Now in the back of the Chevy, tons of room. Got a little storage pocket here. Pretty fancy looking door panel with the wood trim there, and you can see the soft touch down below. Speaking of fancy, look at these seats. Nice trim. All down the center, got the seat storage as well. Pretty solid looking. And then headroom back here is good. Legroom here in the back's really good. Got a little storage pocket. See how fancy that looks. And look at the Rebel door panel with all the red. You better like red with this one. And then speaking of red, look at these seats. Got like the cloth mesh. So kind of a different design. And then headroom back here, it's good. Now you can see the front door panel here with the Trail Boss. Let's quick look at the mirrors. All of our window controls here. Payload capacity is 1613. And then here's those front seats. Got your adjustments on the side. And then you can see with the parking brake, you got your drive line select here. Drive mode select with the tow haul mode, light controls as well. And then let's pop in. Gotta love the V8 sound. Solid close, nice trim all over the steering wheel. You got practical controls on it, like your cruise control, heated steering wheel function, controls the center, paddle shifters there. You got this big digital gauge cluster here. And then this one just has the backup camera, no 360. But as for the infotainment system, easy enough to use, pretty quick response time overall. And then down below, we've got a bunch of controls, main stuff. You do have hill descent control, it's an off-road truck. And then we've got trailer brake controls, heated seats, dual zone climate, and you'll notice no locking diff button, has the G80, so it's an automatic locker. Got a little shifter here, some cup holders, and then here's the center console. Got the double glove box, and then nice trim on the dash too. We'll see that. And then we do have a power sliding rear window, so solid. And taking a look at the front door panel with the Rebel, yeah, lots of red trim. Got all of our window controls, front tour automatic, your mirror adjustments. The mirrors do have blind spot monitoring, and again the trailer mirrors, which is pretty cool. Payload capacity on the Ram is 1515. It's a little bit less than the Chevy, about 100 pounds. And then here's the front seat, the Ram. And you got stuff like your pedal adjustment there, got your light controls. Popping in, pretty easy, don't have the steps though. And then let's see what the door panel's like. Yep, solid. Rebel. I like the steering wheel a little bit more. It's kind of, again, you gotta like red, but it's fancy looking. That's for sure. Got your drive modes there. And this does have drive modes just like the Chevy. Full digital gauge cluster. Then we've got a big infotainment system with the backup camera, no 360. But yeah, dual zone climate, heated seats just like the Chevy. Pretty quick response time. And then we got an advanced four-wheel drive system, 2-speed transfer case. This has a selectable rear locker and your off-road cruise control. And then got your trailer brakes, and then that's for your trailer backup. Some USBs. I like this center console design a little bit more in the Ram. I think it looks a little bit better. Got wireless phone charging pad, and just more practical. Like so much space in it. Double glove box. Cool, it says Rebel. And you got soft touch all across the dash. And then we do have a power sliding rear window as well. When it comes to pricing, both these trucks sticker for about $69,000, so as comparable as it gets. Let's see how they drive. Well, let us sit off in the Boss of Trails and see how it compares to the Ram. Now I do think I can get out this way. Just have to see to make sure. I'm gonna have to do a little bit of light off-roading. Yeah. Got a little dirt trail here. Boom, we've taken the Trail Boss off-road. Hardcore. It can do it. Solid torque. Naturally aspirated to get the instant response. It's cool. It's really cool. Drives pretty dang well. It's pretty comfortable with the suspension. It'll be interesting to see how this compares to the Ram. Mostly the hood bulge does get in the way a bit in terms of visibility. But yeah, it's solid. Solid performance, solid damping. Seats are a little bit firmer with the Trail Boss. I will say this interior is very muted compared to the Ram. Right, the Ram's got all that fancy red trim, and I think that Chevy might have to step up their interior game a little bit with the Trail Boss now that we've got a new Ford Tremor, a new Ram Rebel. But also maybe people like this, you know, they like the kind of more subtle interior versus something that's kind of more shouty about what it is. So Perhaps that's a thing there. But we'll get turned around here. Hopefully I can do this in one go. Might not be able to because it's a full-size truck, but we'll see. Yeah, not too shabby. Listen to that. V8 power. So yeah, the Trail Boss, it drives well. So let's see what the Ram drives like, because it's got about the same amount of power, but it's a 6-cylinder. So see how that feels. Well, let's talk about visibility before we set off. Over the hood, both the mirrors. And I just realized I forgot to do that in the Chevy. But visibility in all these pickup trucks it's not all that different, especially between Chevy and Ram. Ford has a little bit different because their front window slopes down some, so it makes you feel a little bit more open. But yeah, all of them have good visibility, pretty similar visibility. And tight. I feel like the Ram's wider than the Chevy. At least it feels that way. Go down the same bumpity bump here. I can tell you right off the bat, the Ram feels smoother. Feels a little bit more comfortable. Chevy, like I said, the Chevy was comfortable, but this is just a little bit better. So it doesn't have that same immediate response as the Chevy because it's not naturally aspirated and big displacement like that Chevy. I mean, the Chevy literally has over twice the displacement. Crazy, right? So this doesn't have that immediate shove that you get in the Chevy, but it still feels good with the power. Yeah, but as they say, there's no replacement for displacement. Don't have the cool sound either. It's kind of very minimal sound here in the Ram. Like, you get a little bit, but not a lot when it comes to sound. Smooth ride though. In the Chevy, I mean, you do have to get into the throttle a little bit more to get the truck up and running. But it doesn't feel bad at all because it's like natural. I don't know why I'm looking there. There's nobody can come from there. Force of habit. But you know, it's that naturally aspirated power. It feels so good. It feels so right. So some things of this comparison. I've been driving this Rebel for a bit. I drove all the way from Hebrew over here. It's over 20 miles. I like the Rebel more. I like the powertrain of that Chevy more. But it's, you know, I just think about ownership. You know, fuel economy is going to be worse than the Chevy, so you're going to spend more on gas, and it's not like that. And that 6.2's been known to have some lifter issues and everything, so it's not like it's going to be, who knows how reliable this powertrain is going to be, but who knows if that Chevy's actually any more reliable being naturally aspirated. So yeah, this interior feels a little bit more special. The truck drives, I think, a little bit better, and this is more practical for off-road use because of how they've sculpted the front end and powder coated the bumpers versus doing fancy gloss paint. I don't understand that. Chevy needs to get rid of that. They even have it on the Zero too. I don't know, it's silly to me, if you ask me. So let me know if you go Rebel or if you go Trail Boss. But I think in this particular segment, I think Ram edges out a little bit of a win. But I know a lot of people are going to say, nope, no V8, no go. And I respect that.